This map shows the geopolitical meat grinder of 7th century Northeast Asia. On the left, you have the massive, expanding borders of Tang China. On the right, the aggressive military apparatus of the Koryo Kingdom. Caught directly in the middle of these colliding empires were the Bohai. They were a loose coalition of indigenous hunting and fishing tribes spread across these frozen Manchurian forests. By the year 668, the Tang Empire crushed Koryo. As collateral damage, the Bohai tribes who lived in the crossfire were subjugated, stripped of their ancestral lands, and force-marched into Tang resettlement camps. Decentralized tribal coalitions simply do not survive contact with organized bureaucratic war machines. The math is brutal. You either assimilate into the empire or you are erased by it. In 696, a rebellion inside the Tang camps created a window of sheer chaos. A Bohai tribal leader named Da Zhuorong seized the moment, broke his people out, and marched his people east, back toward their rugged homelands. But running was a temporary fix. Da Zhuorong realized that hiding in the mountains, relying on guerrilla tactics, would eventually fail. To build a permanent, secure state, his people needed an infrastructure capable of governing millions. The newly founded Kingdom of Bohai secured its survival through an audacious act of institutional cloning. They downloaded the exact administrative operating system of their greatest rival, Tang China, and applied it to the wilderness. This diagram illustrates the downloaded central processing core, the Sunshang, or 3 departments, beneath the king, handling top-level affairs. Branching off were 6 ministries managing daily life. Instead of functional names, Bohai adopted strict Confucian ethics: loyalty, human kindness, propriety, ritual, wisdom, and trustworthiness. This extreme rigidity was highly calculated. The Kingdom of Bohai had an explosive demographic mix of indigenous Bohai, Khitans, Turks, and Koreans. They needed a universally recognized, heavily structured system to keep the state from ripping itself apart. Importing a Confucian bureaucracy forced a chaotic, multi-ethnic society into a single, cohesive hierarchy, putting fractured tribes into a unified uniform under the king. This map shows how that bureaucratic blueprint was applied to the physical landscape. They carved the untamed Manchurian wilderness into a strict, glowing grid containing 15 first-class prefectures and dropped down 5 massive capital cities, securing every cardinal direction. The stability generated an economic explosion. The southern regions, which had been traditional hunting grounds for centuries, rapidly transitioned into highly organized agricultural powerhouses. With basic survival secured, specialized luxury industries took off. The state began producing high-end silk products and highly intricate ceramics for export. Even the architecture was highly calculated. They built these cities on a sprawling footprint to physically mimic Chang'an, the imperial capital of the Tang dynasty. This infrastructure made the north a magnet for cosmopolitan talent. Scholars flocked to the Bohai capitals, bringing Chinese script, written poetry, and foreign Buddhist texts. By downloading the administrative science of their neighbors, Bohai bypassed thousands of years of gradual societal evolution. They engineered a cosmopolitan golden age essentially from scratch. But in the late 9th century, the system hit a fatal flaw. An administrative machine is effective only as long as a strong central authority holds the levers. The royal Da family began losing dominance over the regional nobles. Up north, the He-Shui Bohai tribes, who had been folded into the empire, started a major rebellion against the crown. This internal political paralysis completely deactivated the state's military structure, known as the 16 Guards. Without central coordination, that vast grid of prefectures was left utterly exposed. The institutional blueprint was sound. The failure was human. The operators at the top corrupted the central processing core, turning a highly organized superpower back into a fractured, defenseless target. In 926, the Khitans, a rising nomadic military power from the west, easily swept through the exposed defenses. They rushed the supreme capital, forcing the last king of Bohai to surrender. The empire existed for exactly 228 years. Despite its short lifespan, it left a permanent mark on the demographic map of Manchuria. The Kingdom of Bohai proves that bureaucracy and culture operate exactly like technology. Applied correctly, These tools can elevate a marginalized group of forest dwellers into one of the most sophisticated powers in medieval Asia.